The Grand Valley Auto Sports Desk, sponsored by Grand Valley Auto.
And welcome back once again to another crossover between the final whistle, the final say of the sports week on the Western Slope, and the Grand Valley Sports Desk, because you know what? They just can't keep me away from the actual physical desk. We're going to begin tonight actually out on the Front Range where some Western Slope wrestlers, they took to the mats for the biggest bouts of their lives. After 2 days of competition at Ball Arena, just one more opponent stood in their way to be crowned a state champion. After weeks upon months upon years of grueling training, some of the Western Slope's own stand alone atop the mountain. One of those is Cedar Edge's Cash Martinez, who cashed in at the 120-pound 2A title against Thomas Valdez, doing so by fall in 3:44. He's bringing the championship back to Cedar Edge, and you can just see the emotion pouring out there after climbing to the top of that mountain. He's actually joined by his fellow Cedar Edge Bruin, Jared Roberts, who took the 106 Class 2A title early in the afternoon, giving the Bruin wrestlers two that sit atop the very top of the mountain. North Fork High School, they can claim its first wrestling champion under the name North Fork High. It's only been around for a couple years, with Charlie Miller making it into the history books, narrowly emerging victorious in the 157-pound 2A title match with a 16-14 victory, doing so in dramatic fashion. And it didn't take long for North Fork to get another. On the girls' side, Velma Bailey won the 4A girls 110 title and did so convincingly, winning 14-2. The Delta Panther, wrestling for the North Fork Minor, gives North Fork a return on their investment with their second individual title. And the title's coming back to D51 for the first time as well. Moments ago, Fruita Monument's own Tatum Williams won the Battle of the Big Guys in the 5A 285 class. Speaking of girls wrestling state champs, as a team, there is no team better in the state right now than the D51 Phoenix girls. They captured their first state title with some of the top finishers for the D51 squad up there on your screen. Congrats on bringing the title back to Mesa County. They're not the only team champs from the Western Slope either. Not surprisingly, when you walk away with two state titles, the Cedar Edge Bruins take Class 2A as a team. They actually narrowly beat out North Fork 141.5 to 138. Fruita Monument finished fifth in their class. Palisade Boys finished eighth. Congrats not just to the state champs and the state championship teams, but all of the participants from the Western Slope who made it over to the championships in Denver. In a rough estimation, and keep in mind math is not my strength here, the Western Slope sent nearly 200 of their best, and the results don't lie. They represented their home very well. All right, we need to get to break here, but when we return, Colorado Mesa saw action on the courts, in the pool, and on the diamonds. And just like that, the background changes. Same sports content, though, coming at you. Same underwhelming jokes. Just going to let that sit for a second. We're officially in crossover season for Colorado Mesa with the Mavs action on the courts, on the diamonds, and in the pool. Baseball and softball all playing at once. Let's get things started off with CMU softball, who after getting their season started last week, they were playing in front of their hometown crowd for the first time this season in a matchup with RMAC rival Regis. Taking a look at Game 1, the Mavs immediately responded to a 3-run top of the first from the visiting Rangers with 2 runs of their own, then took the lead in the following inning off a big swing of the bat by Allie Disler, a 3-run blast to clear the outfield walls. That put the Mavs up 5-3, a lead they never ultimately surrendered with a combo of Presley Christensen and Jocelyn Gallegos holding the Rangers scoreless from the second inning on. They win this one 7-3. Now headed into Game 2 of the doubleheader, we're going to actually check in on this one on a great day for some softball in Grand Junction. The Mavericks, they seem to be duplicating that formula for success from last game. A Disler homer gave them the lead early on, up 4-3. The Central alum Maya Arrieta here is going to show off some slick fielding with the glove to get the Mavs out of a jam there. But the Mavericks bats, they later in the game were struggling to string really any sort of rally together. Vanessa Candido, the Rangers pitcher there in the meantime, giving them fits. The Rangers tied things up with a homer and kept going, taking the lead off this Morgan Norris base knock with runners on to take the lead. CMU looked for a response late, but Candido ultimately got the better of them, getting the final out. Mavs split the first two, dropping Game 2 at a final of 6-4. Over in Northern California, the Mavs baseball team looked to rebound after dropping Game 1 of their series against Chico State. Game 2 of the series took extra innings to sort out, and it looked like the Mavs would be able to take the second matchup with a Declan Wiesner solo shot in the top of the 10th. But 2 more Wildcats came around to score, and Chico State walks off CMU. 5-4 is your final. And here's something you don't see a lot, but the Mavs baseball team, they wound up getting swept in this series. The Wildcats, apparently riding that momentum off that walk-off, they take another 1-run game at a final of 3-2. CMU has one more road series in Idaho before the home opener against MSU Billings. In Las Vegas, New Mexico, Mavs basketball. It was a pretty successful road trip, I'd say. On the women's side, they've now made it a dozen wins in a row, extending their winning streak to 12, riding a 20-point run to the win. 69-55 is your final there. For the second game in a row, the reigning RMAC player Olivia Reed-Pine once again posts over 30 points, 34 both games to be precise, in the win. The men's team also picked up the win with their depth really shining through in this one. 5 different Mavs had double-digit points, led by Mason Honeyman with 18. Yak Yak posted another double-double, 14 points and 12 boards for him. Both CMU teams will be back in Junction Thursday for the Blizzard at Bronson against South Dakota Mines. We need to get to break here, but when we return, more Maverick domination, this time in the pool. All right, as promised before the break, the Colorado Mesa Mavericks swim and dive team, a dynasty that's been running in Grand Junction for almost a decade now, well, they do it again. For the 7th season in a row, the Mavericks are Rocky Mountain Athletics Conference champs. The Mavs men's team, after facing some opposition from Colorado Mines, pulled away as a team to win by almost 300 points. The women's team, a masterclass. The Mavs had almost 800 points of separation from them in second place Simon Fraser, and will once again turn their attention to improving even more to put on a show on the biggest stage, the NCAA Championships in Indianapolis. All right, we actually need to get to break again here, but when we return, the hockey world is watching the four nations face off. Team USA, they certainly made their presence known in an interesting way. We'll fill you in when we get back. All right, this is an interesting one. All of the hockey world is watching the four nations face off. Hockey fans file into the Bell Center for a sold-out matchup between Team USA and Canada. And the game kicked off with a heavy dose of fisticuffs. I like it. Let's just get right to the chase. 2 seconds in, Brandon Hagel began fighting Matthew Tkachuk. 1 second after that, Brady and Tkachuk dropped gloves against Sam Bennett. 6 seconds later, a whole other fight. Again, let's just get right to the chase. It's honestly been more entertaining, I think, than a lot of All-Star Game festivities. But that's going to do it for the final whistle. Thanks for watching.